Hey YouTube, welcome to Walk in Faith. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for tuning in. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys 3 signs to know if you were raised by a narcissist. And this is going to be based off of personality traits that you have that may be a result of narcissistic abuse. So I'm going to go over some characteristics that you may have adapted or come accustomed to that you don't really like, but you're dealing with it. And I'm going to tell you why it may be a result of narcissistic abuse. So I'm going to go ahead and get straight into it. So the first sign that you were raised by a narcissist is if you struggle with people pleasing. And I'm not talking about people pleasing in the sense of you just loving to do for others. You just have a genuine care for people. You're a people person. You just like giving to others. Like, that is a great trait to have. Everybody should want to serve and help other people, but I'm talking about severe people pleasing to the extent of you placing your value, your self-worth into the hands of other people and their opinions. You know, you go to any extent to try to make somebody like you. Okay, you probably compromise your own real personality, your own morals, just to try to fit in with other people and to be accepted and validated by others. That type of people pleasing could be a direct result of being raised by a narcissist. Okay, so understand that narcissistic parents tend to make their children feel like they're not enough. You know, they put their children on a certain pedestal in their own mind and make their children try to live up to these unattainable standards that they set, right? And it's like being raised by a narcissist, dealing with a narcissistic parent, it's as if you're trying to fill a bottomless pit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that you do is ever enough for them. They make you feel like you can't just be who you are to be accepted. You have to do X, Y, and Z in order to be validated, applauded, approved by them, and, you know, receive their full love. So when you're accustomed to that mindset of you always having to do more, be someone else instead of yourself to make this parent happy, you take that mindset into your adulthood, you take it into the world and other relationships that you have. You feel like you have to overextend yourself. You feel like no matter what that person does back to you, because they can be treating you like absolute trash, but your worth, your value is placed in their opinion. So you're going to do everything that you possibly can to make that person happy, to make that person approve of you and tell you that you're enough. So it's almost as if you're giving somebody else authority to tell you that you are enough by people pleasing and doing things that you feel is going to make others happy with you. This is a very unhealthy trait to have, because in reality, not everyone is going to like you. You know, when you go throughout this life, you're going to come across people who don't like you for their own reasons. Not everybody's going to want to be around you. Not everybody's going to love you. That's just facts, right? But when you are raised by a narcissist, you just have this feeling that you need to do more so people can make you feel like enough, because your parents have never made you feel like that just as you are. And the second sign to know that you were raised by a narcissist is if you have low self-esteem. So that goes back to the not feeling enough. You know, the narcissistic parents not only make you live up to a certain standard, but they also judge a lot. They're very judgmental, critical. They ridicule you about petty things that healthy parents really wouldn't pay no attention to. Narcissistic parents love to highlight your failures. You know, they would rather hone in on the things that you did wrong instead of celebrating your achievements. You could do 10 things right during the day, but they'll take the 1 or 2 things you did wrong and beat you down on that and make it seem like you're just the worst person in the world for those things. And then they'll simultaneously praise themselves and make themselves seem like they were so much better when they were your age, or now they're such a better person and you need to be more like them. You know, they'll make it seem like if you were more like them, you'd be further along in life. It's really self-absorbed and manipulation that these narcissistic parents do to make their children feel less than themselves. You know, that's what gives you that low self-esteem. But understand that you do not need anybody else's approval, opinions to validate who you are. God made you perfectly the way that you are. He formed you in your mother's womb. So there's nobody that needs to validate your worth, your value, and who you are. Okay, come to God for your confidence and not people. And that's including parents, narcissistic parents, whoever. And the third sign that you were raised by a narcissist is if you don't trust yourself. So another thing that narcissistic parents do, or narcissists in general, they just love to gaslight. And if you're unfamiliar with what gaslighting means, in a nutshell, it's basically making you feel like the experiences that you've had didn't really happen, right? So for example, if you come to a narcissistic parent and you tell them about a time when they hurt your feelings or something that they said to you that you did not like, they'll either deny it or downplay it. So they'll make it seem like what you experienced didn't really happen, or that you're too sensitive, it didn't happen the way that you're making it seem, you're overreacting, you know, and they just kind of dismiss your feelings and make themselves seem right. Because narcissists always think that they're right about everything. They don't think they make mistakes. They don't really feel the need to really give you a sincere apology about anything. So they kind of dismiss your feelings, downplay what you're saying just to bring themselves up higher. So understand that when they gaslight you, that causes you to then second guess yourself. You know, if they start downplaying what you tell them, you'll think to yourself like, wait, did this really happen? Like, am I tripping? What's going on? I know that they said X, Y, and Z. And sometimes you'll feel like you want to record them just to show them what they did say, right? And even if you do that, they still might deny it. But the point is, they try to get into your mental to make you second guess your own judgment, your own sense of reality that you know happened, right? You know in your heart of hearts this is what you experienced, but by them being manipulative and gaslighting you, you start to second guess yourself. And when you constantly have to deal with this manipulation and gaslighting, you take that sense of not trusting yourself into other areas of your life, right? So when you make a decision to do something, you'll probably be hesitant about it. Or if you do decide on something, you don't stick with it because you feel like this is probably not the right thing. I don't know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to with my life. You know, a healthy relationship between a parent and a child, you know, if the parent is confident in them raising you right and bringing you up a certain way, they should know that you can make responsible choices for yourself. You shouldn't feel like you have to run every decision you're making in your life by your parent. You know, it's great to get advice from parents, but you shouldn't feel like I need mommy and daddy's approval to do X, Y, and Z. Like, you're grown, you can make your own decisions. And I would say, of course, come to God before anybody and make sure he's approving of what you're trying to do, right? But don't feel like you have to tell your parent every single little thing, or you're gonna get in trouble, or they're gonna disapprove of you. Like, you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. But that's a mentality shift that you have to make if you have struggled with narcissistic abuse or were raised by a narcissist. Narcissistic parents are very controlling, and they just want to keep you dependent on them because they feel like they know everything, they have the right advice. You need to come to them because they are the source. They're not your source, okay? God is your source. God gave us parents as, you know, to give us guidance and to raise us up in the way that we should go, but you shouldn't idolize your parents, right? Your parents are not God. God is your source, so you come to him for things. And of course, ask your parents for advice, but don't lean on them as, you know, needing their stamp of approval for doing things in your life, especially if you're a fully grown adult. Okay, so those are 3 signs to know if you were raised by a narcissist. Hopefully you are able to take something from this video. I'm going to have a lot more narcissist topics coming up on this channel because I've dealt with narcissists in many different forms, like friendships, relationships, just people I know. So I'm very knowledgeable on this topic. And I think if you have suffered with narcissistic abuse, it's really important for you to get as much information on this topic as you can, because it's the missing link to your healing. Before you can really heal from something, you got to understand what you're dealing with, right? So I would encourage you to continue to do your own research on narcissism. There's so many resources out there on this topic, so really inform yourself about narcissistic abuse. But thank you so much for listening to this video. As I always say, know that God loves you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Be blessed.